This is Jean Marie Ward for Buzzy Mag. With me today is Kevin Hearn, the New York Times best-selling author of the Iron Druid Chronicles. Welcome, Kevin, and congratulations on making the New York Times list with Trick.
Thank you very much.
How does it feel?
Well, of course it feels pretty tremendous, you know, flabbergasting, that kind of thing. I didn't expect to achieve this much success, so I'm very grateful to my readers for making it happen.
Why Druids?
Oh, part of that is because I myself am Irish and I've always been interested in it. Part of it is because the urban fantasy market really wasn't addressing Druids very much. There was an opportunity for me to distinguish myself there, and also I like the fact that there hadn't been a large amount written about them previously. There wasn't like a canon, and there wasn't you know, a lot of rules associated with what Druids must be like. So it allowed me to be as creative as possible and definitely put my stamp on things. So a combination of all those things is basically why I went that way.
How much research was involved? I understand you did research in two directions, not only in the mythology, but also in the market.
Yes, I did. Part of the research was just figuring out what had already been done. I didn't really want to tread old ground. How are you going to distinguish yourself if you are writing yet another vampire werewolf triangle, that sort of thing? I didn't have a lot new to say in that regard. So I wanted to distinguish myself by just writing about Druids, period. The other part of the research involves going back to the original mythology, a lot of which you can find on Irish university websites, the Annals of the Four Masters, you know, the old Ulster cycles, the Fenian cycles, things like that. If you go ahead and read the original source material, it's great fun, and I'm not sure why anybody, you know, very few people, I should say, have tapped that yet. Usually you see some focus on the Morrigan and her various aspects, but not so much the rest of the Tuatha Dé Danann, and I thought it would be fun to explore them, give them some face time.
And perhaps a few cattle raids.
Yeah.
I understand from your website that you were a great comic book geek, and maybe still are.
Oh yeah, I am.
How did your love of superhero comics and mighty bashings translate into the work that became the Iron Druid Chronicles?
I think part of it is that they're always just 22-page stories. You know, a comic is basically, you know, a chapter of a book, if you wish, because they often have story arcs. And so what that trained me to do as a reader and eventually as a writer is to think of things in these little episodic, fun, you know, self-contained adventures. You know, something gets resolved in every book, but yet there's a new cliffhanger at the end that makes you want to turn the page or buy the next issue, that kind of thing. And so it translated into my writing that way. I think of things in sort of episodes. I write chapter outlines, not, I guess, a traditional outline, but basically chapter summaries that I think of as, you know, issues of a comic book. And when I write, the way I envision my characters are as comic book characters. They have that look to them in my head. So that helps me choreograph fight scenes. All the fight scenes I've seen in comics help me figure out, you know, what would be going on in a fight at this point, you know, and the give and take of a battle. All of that came from my youthful and then, you know, continuing love of comics.
You also draw comics, don't you?
Fairly badly compared to what the really, you know, the pros are capable of doing, but I like to give it a shot sometimes. I'm mostly good at the human figure. I can do that okay, but man, when it comes into that three-point perspective, you know, these incredible cityscapes that you see sometimes, I'm just incapable of doing that. I really admire the guys who can do it, and that's what makes them pros.
Yes, and you have basically absorbed the format, because all of the books I've read so far, Hounded, Hammered, Hexed, all end in cliffhangers. And is this something that's going to continue indefinitely?
No, not at all. I'm going to have 9 books in the series. I mean, you know, sales figures willing, you know, if people continue to support me, I get to write them, right? But I want to finish it at 9. And I wouldn't say that they all necessarily finish in cliffhangers. I know Hammered was a big one. That was a huge cliffhanger.
Yes.
And Tricked doesn't really have one. Things get kind of wrapped up for a little while in Tricked. At the end of Trapped, there is a fairly big cliffhanger at the end of that one. But I guess I alternate, I guess, a little bit back and forth between them. And I do enjoy looking forward to the next book sometimes, you know. That's part of something that really came into my work from the comics, as you mentioned.
How are you enjoying your book tour? Is it your first?
Well, I technically had a tour last year.
Okay.
But it was just Colorado. I mean, I shouldn't say just Colorado. It was fabulous Colorado. And I loved it because it was a book and beer tour. But also, you know, hardly anybody knew who I was. Hounded had just been published for a month. But I did have some folks show up who had heard about the books and were excited about the first one. And then they got to buy the second one. It was right when Hexed came out. So I met lots of fabulous people, drank lots of fabulous beer, and you know, but it was a road trip kind of thing, and that's what I like to do. I design little road trips or places where I want to drive. So this year I've decided to kind of do the South a little bit. Started in Dallas, then I flew up to Cincinnati. We rented a car there, and then we kind of went into Lexington, Nashville, Atlanta, Charlotte, and then Durham, where I got my fabulous hat. I love it. And then I drove up to DC from there. So just a quick little one-week trip, but we've seen a lot of country. We've seen castles in places we just didn't expect to see them. I found one in Kentucky, in the midst of horse country. There's this awesome castle sitting there. So I loved it. It's been great, and people have been just wonderful to meet. A lot of folks that I've talked to via Twitter or email or Facebook or something, you know, they're showing up, and I finally get to meet them in person, and it's been wonderful.
You're a big fan of the Bulls?
I am, because of that movie, you know, Bull Durham. I mean,
yes.
I think they truly are America's favorite minor league team. And it had been raining for days, but it just cleared up in time for that day game against the Toledo Mud Hens. And unfortunately, the Bulls lost, but it was still a great time at the ballpark.
Yes, it usually is. Minor league is in some ways so much more exciting than Major League these days.
This Mud Hen, he hits one to center field, and the center fielder missed it, and so it went all the way to the wall. So this guy is trying to run all the bases and score an infield home run, right, based on an error. Well, he didn't make it. They got him at the plate. It was such an exciting play. So that kind of thing happens in minor league ball, and it just doesn't happen in the majors, you know. And twice, two runners got caught stealing third, and they got caught in a pickle and run down, one from each team, and that hardly ever happens in the majors either. You just don't see it happen. So it's really exciting to watch minor league ball.
You really love it. I can hear it. So after the Iron Druid Chronicles, are you looking at writing something about baseball?
No, I'm not that much of an expert. I'm just kind of a fan, you know. I don't think I know enough to do it justice. You know, there are people out there who have a much greater passion for it in terms of the statistics and stuff than I do, and I think they should write the books so that I can enjoy them, you know. I'm going to continue to write about, some epic fantasy, maybe some sci-fis in my future too. So I'm hoping to, you know, explore several different things besides, you know, urban fantasy, and hope everybody goes along for the ride.
Yes. What you're concentrating on now, though, is Atticus's Adventures.
Yes.
And I understand there's a special something coming out for the fans on August 27th?
Yeah, I hope that date is accurate. I can't speak for certain, but it's a novella called Two Ravens and One Crow, and it will be basically IDC 4.5. It happens in between Tricked and Trapped. It's set 6 years, right in the middle of Granuail's training period, basically. And so a lot of loose ends from Hammered and Tricked get wrapped up, and then we also set the stage for Trapped, So it's kind of important to, it will be referred to, the events of this will be referred to in Trapped, which is kind of bizarre for me because I've already written the references, Trapped is finished, but I haven't yet finished the novella. I actually have a couple more days to finish it off. And then, but I hope folks enjoy it and are able to pick it up. It's going to be digital only, so if you don't have an e-reader, you can always download it onto your computer or cell phone using an app. So.
Great, great. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I'm very grateful to everybody for the support. So many of you have been kind and sent me emails, or you post on my wall on Facebook, or send me messages and that kinds of thing, and it's so great to hear from you all. I really do appreciate it, and I do my best to get back to you as fast as I can. And also on Twitter, people have been very kind on Twitter. I don't follow a lot of people, but I have the, if you do that little @reply or whatever you call that, I do always do my best to reply back, and so I do hope if I can't get to your town anytime soon, I'm very sorry, but you can always talk to me. Feel free to, because I'm just a regular dude.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you so much.
And have a great time at the Library of Congress.
Oh, I will.
And thank you from Buzzy Magazine.